Hello, and welcome to Inspire Synergy. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our partners at Procyon Partners. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network. I spoke with him yesterday, and he is very excited and happy about everything that we are doing and looking towards the future. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Renell Jump. They will save you money. Well, they specialize in tax returns for businesses large and small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm, man, he's got the best commercials out there. He's on all sorts of billboards. He's Better Call Saul. I love it. I love it. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, a car accident, construction beam fell on you at a site, mother-in-law decided to run you over with her car, and one night your wife just got mad and she decided to stab you. The Finch firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all over the state of Connecticut, and he will go to war to make sure you get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You got to remember, if you're in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon in Hartford, Connecticut. He has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility. Trains boys and girls of all ages, of all sports. He has a boot camp program, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He also has an athletic development program where he takes boys and girls in the sport of their choice. He trains them, develops them, helps them to reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be in the sport of their choice. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports, which makes him one of the best. Go to his website, www.dynamichumanperformance.com, and sign up to work with the best. Down south, we have Julius Williams and the Trench Mob. Trench Mob show, 8 o'clock Wednesday nights. Last night was phenomenal. The week before, we had a player by the name of Sean Perot, who is currently at Florida State. The week before that, we had an offensive lineman, and I'll just say his name is Bear. So that should tell you everything. He is a high school kid committed to going to Alabama. So you can see the quality of player the Trench Mob works with. Julius and his team take his kids to compete in 5v5 tournaments all across the country. They go to college showcase camps, and every camp they attended, a member of the Trench Mob was offered a scholarship. Julius has sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. If you are committed and if you want to work with the best, and you can do so anywhere in the country because he has a virtual program now, go to www.battleofthetrenches.com, sign up, work with them, and I promise it'll pay off. Our newest sponsor, not really new anymore, James Whitfield of Luther James Insurance. James, I have connected with several of my friends, colleagues, I guess, people that I work with. And James has managed to create a small fortune for them. For the last 3 years, he's dedicated himself to the art of financial services, but he specializes in insurance policies, mainly some life insurance. He does retirement planning. He assists EMTs, first responders, law enforcement achieve financial stability. And he understands retirement, even the word and the thought can be just so stressful. How much am I going to need? For how long? Do I have enough to last? I don't want to work till I'm 70. It's fear of the unknown. It's real. So to connect with James, you can go to his website, www.lutherjamesinsurance.com. And now for the man of the hour from Inspire Synergy in the House of Changes, working with Scott Lewis Realty, Abbah. Great to see you again, considering Razul is in training. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, we're excited, and I have you this week, and I know Ashley's got some guests lined up in the next few weeks, and that's good to see. A lot's going on there. How have things been going recently at the house? We had talked last week about there's some beds available. We're trying to get them filled. We're trying to provide some more support and resources and opportunities for the men. And you have more of a connection to the men. At least, I mean, you lead some Bible study or a reading club. I know you do certain things there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts of the group we have now? Has anyone new came in?
So no one new, to my knowledge, as of last week when I checked in with the status of the house. We have our board meeting tonight.
Good.
I'll get a real-time update. We're recording it's now 4:15 p.m. and then the board meeting is at 6 p.m.
Okay, so Uwe will be there too, right?
Say again?
Uwe will be there?
He's usually in the board meeting. He's usually there. I think he's made every single one. So
yeah, he's going to tell you that he doesn't want me coming to the house if that comes up. So just ignore him and list the reasons why it'd be a great addition to the house.
Okay.
He's firmly against it. So
I wonder why.
I was wondering why too. I said, I think it's a great opportunity.
It's not like there's like any temptation for using.
No. It wasn't about. I don't think it was about that. I think it's a great opportunity to at least get out of here and come and give back and contribute at the house. And
it seems like a win-win to me.
Yeah, I mean,
to hear his perspective on it. I'm very curious now.
Well, he believes that to offer consulting advice and things like that, I don't necessarily need to be in the thick of things at the house.
I get it. I think it's more having your own privacy and creating appropriate boundaries. That would be fair.
But I mean, I don't think I'm at the point like I don't have anything private. I've lived in those houses before. I've enjoyed living in houses. I like being with the guys.
And that house is beautiful.
And that's what he said. He said it's a beautiful house.
It's nicer than my house.
And like I said, the most important thing for me is as far as just creating a program that, again, like the UConn football team losing to Delaware, we weren't putting our kids in a position to succeed. We're asking them to do things that they're incapable of doing. And it drove me up a wall because some of the schemes we ran, some of the plays we ran were just doomed from the start because they're plays that or defenses that you could run at Florida or Miami or Georgia, but we don't really have that at UConn to try to do certain things. So I feel it's similar with the house. And when I had heard that men were allowed to come in with weeks of sobriety, that was the one thing that kind of perked up my ears. And it's just it's not anyone's fault. It's just you guys are new at this. It hasn't even been a year. So it takes a little while to understand how it works. And
it sounds like from talking to other people that have that experience and they've been around for 10 plus years, this is normal. In reference to, and once it gets warm, your occupancy goes down.
Yeah, it does. They want a house. They want a house when it's cold.
Exactly.
When it gets warm, they bounce.
Yeah.
That's 100% true.
Yep. And then it's just, from my side and Razul and Letitia is figuring out ways to how do you overcome it. So,
Well, I mean, we did contracts. I believe when we got into the IOP program, which was the halfway house, it was a set 3-month contract. And you were bound by that to pay the 3 months, regardless if you stayed, you left, were kicked out. Regardless, you were bound by the 3-month contract, and it was enforced. Like I know some people may have tried to disappear, but they had a firm that handled it and made sure that they recuperated at least a portion of that money, if not all. That's one way to do it. The other way is really trying to provide those resources with group opportunities, job opportunities that make them want to be there, want to stay, want to continue to work on the recovery. Not that it's a lame place. Like, wow, this is great. They're giving me this, and this. I have so many opportunities to better myself, to better my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that will make them want to stay. I was just curious if you were to say, the people who did leave,
mm-hmm.
was it more voluntary or was it because of something else?
So there was only one person we had to put out.
Right.
And I think it's because of the season was changing.
So it was voluntary. They chose to leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them understood the culture and, understood the direction things were going.
Because
they just respectfully, exited themselves.
Right.
So
it's not like you were having problems with the group itself. The group itself. Would you say the group itself got along together, or did they kind of separate and do their own thing?
From all my interactions, everyone got along. There was no. We're blessed to have Marcus. Marcus, we couldn't get a.
No, I know Marcus is your angel. Marcus.
So he builds the relationships. He sets a great tone. He pulls us in early. He pulls Razul in early. The communication is wonderful. He's very professional. We're underutilizing his skill set, so we've been really trying.
That's what I told him. That's what I talked to Uwe about. Is Marcus is capable of doing much more, and I would be the conduit that could kind of take some of the meaningless stuff off his, not the meaningless, but the other work off his place, plate. Because there's a lot more that he could be doing. And you also mentioned applying for grants is critical, getting that money, getting sponsors.
Yep. So we had an architect on site today in order to upgrade some of the stuff that we can offer from a facility standpoint. So we're certified with DEMIS as a sober house, but you can also get like building permits and other structural permits, so you qualify for more funding. So we started putting that stuff into place.
Right. No, I think that's huge when you're able to do that, and that'll make a difference. And you should be available for those outside grants, and then the sponsorship piece is critical. I mean, we're working on it now, getting one main sponsor to kind of believe in you and that can contribute a dollar amount a month. Even if you had a deal with a Whole Foods or something like that, where the guys were able to get, like, I know where I was, we had a deal with Whole Foods where we got $60 gift cards to shop every week.
Grocery shopping. It's funny that you
Yeah.
bring that up. We're working on a connection with the grocery store to be able to distribute food to the men in the
Yes.
house and then other homes in the area. So these are details we've been working out.
That'd be great.
For the past few weeks. So it strengthens partnerships, where
It strengthens the community, like you said.
Yeah, and then also it's food for the men in the house. So like we were able to get like a bunch of different types of breads, bagels,
perfect,
salad stuff, fruits galore.
Yeah, so nobody can complain about
some non-perishable items.
Yeah.
You just pick out what you want. You can make smoothies. Bananas, apple, all types of stuff.
That's great.
So that's been wonderful. So we're trying to lock that in, and it's a new landscape. So I'm not sure what I'm allowed to talk about or not talk about.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. I would just say, I'm just telling you how they did it with us. We each got gift cards, and we had to spend everything on the gift card. If you did not spend everything on the gift card, then the money came back to the house to use for the future. So if someone like spent 55 out of the 60, then that $5 would go back to the house to fund anything, it was like a rainy day fund for anything in the future, for any future projects. And $60 a week is tight to live on, but it also teaches you responsibility. It teaches you how to shop.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you, what to get, what not to get, what's going to last. And, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
The first week I was there, I think I ran out of food on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But you get good food, and you get a good quality that is going to last you throughout. So when you go shopping on that Sunday, nobody's starving.
Yeah.
It worked out well. The gift cards worked out well.
I like that program.
Yeah, it worked out well. And the other partnership, do you guys have a gym membership partnership anywhere?
Not that I'm familiar with, but I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So again, like I said, this isn't me being an expert or knowing anything. What worked for us, we partnered with the YMCA that was local. I don't know if you have a local Y in Norwich. Is there anything local?
I would assume yes.
Okay.
I would assume yes because it's a city, but I would have to.
They're more than gracious to work with your group. And the way it worked is you would walk up to the front desk, you would say, I'm with the House of Changes, my name is so and so. Okay, go ahead. And they had a special list for us.
I love that.
And it's just something I really believe the Y made a huge difference, because guys would get frustrated. It's a different type of program because, when I was there, we would go, like I said, for the first 28 days, it was mandatory 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You're in group meetings. You'd go 9 to 12. You get a lunch from like 12 to 1:15, and you'd be back by 1:30. And I think the afternoon group started at 2. So we go for that, and then you're there from like 2 to 4:30 or 2 to 4, and then you have a window where so we did have the luxury of 2 vans. So guys who wanted to go work out could go directly from the facility to work out, come back, shower, change, and then you'd go to your night AA meeting. The guys who didn't want to go could go right back to the house. But that was the manpower of having enough techs and the vans. When the numbers were lower and they didn't keep 2 full techs on, if it came down to a vote, if enough people wanted to go to the Y, then everyone went, and the guys that didn't work out could just sit and read and hang out while everyone else worked out. It was just really good mentally, physically, just to get your stresses out, get your frustration out, get all that out, and you get tired, and it's good. You get a good pump, and you feel good. You go home, grab something to eat, quick shower, and you go to your AA meeting, and you get into the culture of training again, which is good. It's a good habit to build. So
I 100% agree.
That's something that you can do after school, after the group sessions, that the men appreciate stuff like that, when they see that you're going the extra mile to care. And then, would it be possible if you have Marcus, if you were you come in and you contribute, if you had somebody like me who came in and were able to contribute, would you be able to put together, let's say, like a small group curriculum for a couple hours in the morning for the guys to do that before? I know you want them out of the house. I know you want them job hunting, but the only thing that bothered me was when you're in early sobriety and taking guys in who are clean just a couple weeks, they are miles away, miles from being ready to join the real world again and get a job and function. It's a lot to ask. It's just, it's really overwhelming. You have to remember, a lot of guys either were in treatment or they were in detox for a week or 2, and they're coming out, and you're giving them a beautiful opportunity with a place to live, and saying, okay, we got to get you out of the house. We got to try to get you a job. Some of them really can't manage to do that and be successful. That's why I was saying putting them in a position to succeed. When you ask them to work immediately, they don't have the skills yet, because they still haven't gotten to the root of why they're there. What caused them to go off the rails? What caused the addiction? What caused it to get so bad where they OD'd or relapsed or had to go to detox? Because listen, I was the exact same way. I went to detox for 5 days. It was the worst 5 days of my life. But when I got out, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back and go to work, and I'll have my life back. Wrong. The detox facility, I was lucky because I don't know if you met. Did you get? I know Razul may have met her. My friend Madeline Gaines.
Was she at the fundraiser? Yes, definitely. And I know, so you've always spoke highly of her.
Well, yeah, she did. Her and her family saved my life. and I wasn't always the nicest to her. Uh, she was one of my best friends.
Mm.
She was one of my best friends throughout high school and college, and then when she when she moved to Connecticut, and I don't know, I guess I got jealous because she became closer friends with my friends.
Your Yukon Husky friends?
Yeah, and she's like, you introduced me to them. Like, you knew I was coming here. You introduced me. Like, why are you mad?
Mm.
And I think it was jealousy,
Hmm.
but I said terrible things about her because I was pissed, and it was wrong. But she still like, I hadn't talked to her in 3 years at that point, and it was Uwe and Terry who reached out, and her mother was a nurse. Her mother was in the military. Her mother is the man. If I could do anything for her, I mean, her mother was in the military, and her mother ran. She was a head nurse at the detox center, or the director actually, and they took me right in, and that's kind of what saved me. But Madeline's mother was the same way. She's like, our job here, we get you clean, but that's when we transfer you to a treatment facility, because that's when the work has to be done.
Hmm.
That's when the real work has to be done. That's when you learn. And it really, like, the facility I went to, it's like I learned psychology 101 or 200 or whatever. Like, okay, this is why I'm a fuck up. This is how
Oh,
I'm
you're breaking up a little bit. You got to talk into the mic.
this is why I'm a fuck up. This is why it happened, and this is what needs to be changed. And
Yep.
they go into all the mentality as far as, like, things I never heard of, like the limbic system, the way your brain works. And that's, some of the groups were like that. Other groups were they had it was a day everyone dreaded. One of the groups was basically monkey in the middle, where they would put a chair in the middle, and everyone in the group would sit in a circle around them, and they could ask you any question they wanted, and you had to answer it. And it was like the scariest thing ever, because and I love public speaking, and I was even scared because they that's when they ask, how did this happen? What's your drug of choice? How do you feel your recovery's been going? And it's kind of like a state of the union, where you say where you are, how you're doing, what are your plans for the future. And that was the one area where we struggled the most. Our caseworkers and our social workers were very, very poor as
Mm.
far as aftercare, as far as helping us to get jobs, helping guys apply for SSI. That is where we ultimately, I thought there was a failure, because when insurance ran out, it was, here's your bus ticket, good luck in life.
Mm.
And I just thought that was cold. And I understand it's a business. I mean, it's this. I don't know for sure if this was a nonprofit, but I understand it's a business. But guys who were in bad situations. I mean, there were two guys who came in who were homeless, and they tried. I mean, they tried hard. They worked their hardest, and they also gave scholarships, but they were out after, I think, 60 days was all the
The
insurance.
insurance covers.
It was Medicaid. Yeah, they didn't have their own insurance. So and it just bothers me, because I mean, I can show you a picture where Like I said, I was there with 14 people, and 17 people, and 14 are dead.
Mm.
And I felt a big part of that. Living in the bubble of treatment and a halfway house and people holding you accountable is different than when you are sent back home and you don't have anyone. I mean, a lot of people, it really was that community of having a group. And it was like we were all together and we helped each other. We hung out together. We watched TV together. We cooked together, meetings together. And when guys, it was the only time where I saw it. I mean, I never expected it when I first got there, but I saw guys disappointed when they left because they had everything for them while they were there. You know, they had $60 a week to eat, where in cases they weren't getting that. They had a beautiful roof over them. They had big screen TVs and were able to watch, games and everything. And to have that taken away, like there was no appeals process. There was nothing. If your insurance ran out, you were gone. So that was the frustrating part. And you guys are able to accept most insurances, correct? If people want to come.
So currently, the men pay, like they kind of figure out their own pay, whether it's SSI
For housing, right?
for the housing portion. So we take a deposit and then go from there.
Okay.
As we're building out, we want to offer more and more services.
Right.
So we're kind of working out those details and what lane we kind of want to stay in.
Right.
We're hoping that we're not against being in that first phase, but we're hoping that we're in that second phase. So after
you want to be the
60
halfway
days,
house. You want to be
it's more of a transitional.
Yes.
Yeah, more of a transitional sober house.
Right.
And then it would be nice to take things to that next level afterwards, where men aren't going back into those hard environments, where they get their own room, more independence, and it's more like a college dorm situation.
Yeah. I agree.
That's we're hoping we'll be in that lane, but we're not against, if it's a guy that has the right motivation and mindset, we're not against it. Like we'll interview any adult, and then go from there. But the way it's designed right now, especially when we open back in November, is more so like a lot of the men have jobs already, or they're getting Social Security, they're getting SSI, and then we're just helping them take it to that next level. So some of the stuff we're working on is trying to help not just get them a job, but start to figure out avenues to build a career, because then that's how you get to accomplish a thriving type of lifestyle. And then hopefully we can figure out after 2 to 4 years, home ownership, if that's something that makes sense.
That would be huge too.
Yeah, so really trying to put programs together that's actually solving problems one person at a time. So that's really where our mindset is. I feel like we've been very successful because the first 4 men that joined our house is still in the house.
That's perfect.
I think that's a wonderful thing.
That's a great retention.
Yeah, and we're really focused on trying to serve deeper and wider. So almost anyone we've approached, whether it's CHFA, DOH, different type of financial support, the response has been excellent. In reference to where we are today and the system that we're building, is just making sure we stay focused and we're doing, putting one foot in front of the other, and we're moving the needle every week. And then I'm really proud of Razul. He didn't go into it trying to do it by himself.
Well, he knows what he doesn't know, which is that level. He doesn't pretend to be an expert and know everything, but he wants to learn.
So, it's like right now is like 5 of us working every week, on something for the house, between Ashley, Razul, me, Letitia, you, Cully. So we have, you know, so we're not, it's not just the board that's meeting monthly, and then, they may have, one person may have an assignment or something like that, or, we're focused on a fund. It's a lot more than that. So I'm really proud of where we are today from where we started in November. Um, and I got to learn something because I found out this week that we're all approved through Demas as a sober living. We're on their list.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
I didn't realize that. I just, that's not my area of expertise to even know to look into that. So when we were talking to like potential resources for the men, that was one of the questions. And I'm like, mm-hmm. So I had Razul. Razul just jumped in and looked in his emails and looked at. We have just like anyone else, our Google Drive, and he's like, "Oh, we got this." And then everything that she was talking about, we actually had it checked off. But the stuff that we didn't have was like we needed some special building permits,
Right.
because older house, it was a residential house that we converted into an
Yeah, it
Airbnb.
has to
And
be.
then
Yeah.
yes, a certain safety for the way you're using the house that you need to hit. Like we hit the safety stuff at the level that we came in at, but there's a higher standard, on the commercial end.
Correct.
So that's why we had the architect come out today. Um,
Yeah, they're
so
licensed differently.
yeah, so I'm very, very happy, me personally, where we are today. In reference to that one house, I'm hoping we get the resources for the second house. So
You
that's
will once you've shown, especially that you've had success
mhm.
with this house.
Yeah.
That will absolutely contribute to whether it's the county or government or whatever giving you money,
Yeah.
grant money for a second house, because this is such an epidemic. And I read in Massachusetts, and it just blew my mind. They're voting to adopt safe shooting sites. I don't know if you heard that.
Um, I have not heard that. So if you can kind of dive a little
Yeah.
deeper.
So, Massachusetts, particularly Boston, and Mayor Michelle Wu is getting a lot for this. They basically have come to the conclusion, listen, we can't stop people from using fentanyl and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make sure they're safe when they do it.
Mm.
So they're constructing certain areas where you can come in, you can shoot up, and there's EMTs, there's nurses there to give you clean needles and make sure that you're safe before you leave. Like, you can shoot up, and you have to wait a certain amount of period of time, and then you can leave.
It reminds me of
It's
prohibition.
yeah. Well, I mean, they do it. They're adopting it from, like, I think it's Norway or Sweden that does it
Okay.
as well.
Do
There's
you know when
people,
that started?
yeah, oh, a while ago, years ago.
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking about in Boston.
in Boston, it hasn't passed yet. They're voting on it.
Okay.
They're voting on it, and there's quite a bit of support for it. But
And they call it what? What do they call it?
they're called safe shooting sites.
Okay.
They're safe sites where guys can go, men and women can go, where they're not going to get obviously in trouble, arrested, or whatever. And there's the other side of it. They're like, oh my God, you're decriminalizing fentanyl, and people who have lost kids and their children, family members to fentanyl are just outraged about this. And I, there's people obviously who are against getting treatment, and they are who they are, and it's very, very difficult to implement change. There's men and women who have been I don't know what the number is there, but they're 915 or whatever, and forced to mandatory 36 hours of being in a hospital for treatment. Um, and the biggest thing, unfortunately, is if the person does not want to make any changes, you are not going to force them to. Although I kind of was forced to, but they're really not going to do it on their own. They have to be willing to understand the consequences, and they're playing Russian roulette with their lives by doing this. Now, they also advocate and promote treatment services like, we'll get you into a rehab if you want to go. But my thing is, well, if you're giving them an opportunity to come in and shoot and just chill out and leave, like, why would they want to go to get treatment? They're getting what they want. So there's a lot of controversy over it. You can see it on Twitter, and it's just disappointing to see, because I just think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And the resources are important for mental health experts like Latanya, having her on board, having her being able to meet with the men, having her diagnose. And, like she said, people are addicts not just because they want to be addicts. There's a root cause for that mentally that leads them down that path. And diagnosing that is really the biggest step in curtailing it. So that's why I think having, I understand your lane. Being a sober house is completely different than a treatment facility. And being a sober house that's why I said, if you're a sober house, you typically would not take somebody with weeks or months of recovery. It's a place where guys are a little bit more stable, and
They're ready for that transition.
yeah,
They,
if you're grabbing a guy who's been sober for 2 or 3 weeks, throwing him in a sober house, we've seen that backfire and cause all sorts of problems, because now they affect the other men.
No question. And
That's
you see it. You see it. It's human nature. You see it in sports. Like, for example,
100%.
you see a lot of benefits for professional athletes, like in football or basketball, that go to 4 years of college playing the sport with their body, and then when they get into the NFL, they're more prepared, to really be able to take advantage of the opportunity, and then some men or women, but like LeBron James, just physical specimen and just has
freak,
a special mind. But if you just look at the averages and the numbers, they kind of speak for themselves.
They do.
Sounds like very similar to prohibition in the past, with alcohol. I did a quick search. So it looks like the pros are fewer fatalities for overdoses, which is huge.
Yeah, they have Narcan on hand. Yep.
Lower transmissions for HIV.
Because they give you the needles. Yep.
Yep. Less public drug use, less discard,
needles. Yep, that's true.
And then increase engagement with support. And then that's where it touches my heart, where you're building relationships with
you're not being judged.
And with professionals. So, you may, like, for example, part of your rehab was the reality check, where you had to have they had to ask them like the hard questions with the monkey in the middle. Well,
yeah.
But
everyone hated that.
Imagine like having a nurse you connect with, or a doctor you connect with, or a social service expert that you connect with, where they're able to gently ask those questions, where you say, you know what, I lost my mother, 2 years ago, and I haven't really confronted that hurt.
I've avoided it.
And I was triggered because, I had lost my grandmother 4 years prior, and the timing sucked because, I just stopped playing football and I lost my identity.
There's
you
always
know.
a reason. Yep.
So it's and then if you're talking to an expert, versus other users that, you are the environment you surround yourself with.
You are judged by the company you keep.
Yeah.
100%.
So, and it's a safe environment. And I'm wondering if the numbers came out in Norway where not only are you saving lives, but from an economic standpoint, is less.
It was very successful. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was very successful. Like literally, people would come, shoot up, go to work, and people had good jobs, but that was their routine. They would come in to the safe site. They would be monitored. They would shoot. I can't remember what the wait time was, but they just wait to make sure you were okay. And like I said, like you said, any overdose, everyone's prepared with Narcan to bring you back. And the way that they look at it is, you're shoveling sand back into the ocean, like it's just going to come back. There's nothing you can do. So let's make it safer, and let's try to. They're going to use whether we want them to or not. But the more they come here, the more we can engage with them, the more we can build a relationship with them. And I think the goal eventually is maybe that day will come where they will accept help and they will go to rehab. And that's kind of what their thinking was.
Yeah, so I did a quick search. So it reduces emergency medical costs. The other cost is the treatment for like HIV and
hepatitis. It's huge. Yes.
It also public safety. So it, cheaper to in reference. There's less cleanup.
Yep.
We're just talking about engagement with treatment, so that equals long-term cost reduction. So just a more proactive approach to humanizing the behavior. And in my belief, my personal belief, we're all addicted to something.
We are. It's just people, different. Yeah.
So the more you humanize it, the better. Avoided death costs, and that's traumatizing.
That's what it does. It really does. It does save lives in that sense, because there's so many professionals on hand. If there is an overdose, you got Narcan right there. They bring you back.
Yeah.
So I do understand the pros that come with it. That my only concern with it was I just wish they promoted. I know they do.
So I wish they were able. Here. So Massachusetts modeling 2017 study published in Addiction estimated that 1 to 2 supervised consumption sites could prevent 6 to 10 overdose deaths.
Yep.
Estimated that 1 to 2 overdose annually the cost in Boston would save $4 million in healthcare costs.
Oh, it would 100%.
So
overdoses of bringing people
I'm
in.
not sure if that's on an annual basis. I'm assuming it's an annual number. I doubt it's going to cost $4 million to run 2 facilities.
Right.
No, that's only on 6 to 10 overdoses.
Right. Per day.
I'm sure that's a very low number for for a population
for an average day. Yeah.
For a population they're treating in that market where there's a crisis.
Yes. Yes. And they had experienced it, experimented with it with meth row. They were allowing free shoot up sites for meth as well, with the same thing. Because again, they just believe that people are going to be using and shooting up anyway. Why don't we make it safe? Let's make it safe as possible, and let's work on talking to them about recovery and getting them into treatment. So,
do you think they did this in New York City? You think that's something because I see something. I don't know how true it is.
It could be. I know that they've dabbled with it in certain states. I thought I knew
There's something here about
California.
New York City. The
Yep.
first year in 2021 when it opened prevented more than 600 overdoses. So that's basically 10x the 4 million. So that's 100x.
I don't doubt that whatsoever.
So we're talking $400 million. That's what it'll cost for those overdoses on average. That's we're even you're not only are you doing the right thing for the individual, you're helping the overall economic system where
hugely
you're collecting less taxes in order to pay for some of this stuff.
Hugely.
There's less of a strain on the whole entire system, even if it's all from people who are employed that can afford to pay for it.
And I know
it reduces your premiums because there's less draw against it.
I know that the mayor candidate, the guy everyone hates, Mamdani, is for this. He's spoken out for this as well. Have you heard of Mamdani?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know much. I haven't done a lot of research.
He is an acquired taste. Kathy Hochul, just the governor of New York, just supported him.
Okay.
He is in his early 30s.
Oh, young.
He is really gained a groundswell behind him. I don't know if everything he's promised is feasible. That was the only question. He's talked about grocery stores being free and different things like that, or rent freeze on apartments, which is sorely needed.
It's just making sure you have the right. It has to be feasible,
Correct.
At the end of the day. And then there's something about skin in the game too. So it's a delicate balance of buy-in and being able to serve, but you can't, in my opinion, you just can't cut 100%. There has to be support, and I believe that all these policies were put in for a purpose, and for the most part those purposes were being fulfilled, especially initially. So the 100% taken away, you're undoing the good work that was put in the past, and how can we move it forward versus taking it back? Maybe it's not being maximized. Let's figure out a way to maximize it. But don't forget the why it was created to begin with. It wasn't created for no reason. Just like we're not trying to outlaw alcohol. It was proven that that doesn't work for American citizens.
It sure did.
So it's very interesting, the world that we're in now, and I feel like we're getting more sound data.
Well, the good thing about what you guys are doing is, you have a plan in place. I think there are certain things that can be added to it that would make it flawless. But the difference is being a treatment facility, offering, some treatment options, or being purely a sober living house, a halfway house, because there are differences.
There's a difference, and we're exploring those ideas.
Yeah.
And we can hopefully just start small, where you offer one behavioral health, just one service. So then we're not all in. You might be able to do a blended model depending on the population that we have in the house at that time.
Yeah, I think for sure you could do kind of like the IOP program I was in, which was more of a blended model, where you do 2 groups in the morning that the guys attend, and it's something that they'll really get something out of, and then you can use the afternoon to job hunt, to job search. The only real suggestion I would make is have a limit on the number of months or years. I would say months. The number of months that they have to be sober before that you would take them.
I don't think we have a rule on that.
You don't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't.
I would restrict it to, most people restrict it to 30 days, others 60. I think that would help. Again, you're putting the men in a position to succeed. If you're taking a man who has 2 weeks of sobriety and putting him into a sober house, I think that's a difficult environment for him. And I also think that could disrupt the house because they're so new to sobriety.
Mhm.
They could be trying to sneak drugs in,
I get
They
it,
can misuse their meds.
but I think it also depends on where the house is. So let's say, like the Patriots back in like before Randy Moss came on, they're able to take on. They had such a strong culture and a
They did.
legacy
They
of
could take. They
success.
took on Corey Dillon. Yeah.
You could take on situations that most environments won't be able to maximize. So, we got to kind of consider, we're here to serve people.
Case by case basis.
Case by case, I think is a wise decision. And let's say someone who was not using for too long, also, where they may be at a different, like their recovery time might be a little bit different track, too. So I'm not familiar with that stuff, but
who is? Do you have someone who evaluates them?
So it's Marcus.
It's Marcus who does the evaluation. Okay,
Mhm.
so
So
he gives the thumbs up or thumbs down.
And Razul. So Marcus starts it, and then some. Like I rarely get pulled in, but there's times where they'll ask me a couple questions. But for right now, it's Marcus. But as we grow, we'll have a clear, defined system.
Yeah.
And then we started playing around with some operational tools where we can start automating and documenting exactly the process that Marcus does. So
absolutely.
When it's time to train someone to take over that work, it hopefully is smoother. So then, we're doing things, as efficiently as possible to set the right standard.
So they come in. Do you urine test them right away?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure.
That's one thing you need to find
drug
out.
tests, but
yes,
I'm not sure if that's something we do out. I think it probably depends on where they came from.
Okay.
So if they just had a drug test done, I don't know if it's necessary to do.
If they're coming from a facility, yes, I agree. You don't need to do a drug test.
Yeah.
Off the streets, yes, you should be drug testing them.
Yeah, I think and Marcus knows that whole world very well.
Yeah.
So he's been really guiding us because we haven't had to put in a lot of red tape and a lot of policies. He kind of understands how it works.
You just have a curfew right now, really.
We have a curfew. We have an understanding. There's a whole mindset aspect to it. There's a conversation about doing chores, what that looks like.
That's huge.
You don't want anyone to be in bed all day. So it's not just a curfew. So it seems to be really working well.
Yeah.
And the men seem happy to be there.
Because they take ownership in the house when you do that.
Exactly. And the house is already beautiful. So
they want to keep it beautiful.
You want to keep it beautiful. And then, one of the men, he has a kid. So his kid will come, at times. So very comfortable for that. So
is that is there certain days for that, or is it?
I don't know the parameters on it. I doesn't sleep over or anything, but
of course not.
But throughout the day, hanging out with dad. This is where dad lives. So which is great.
That is.
And then Marcus loves it.
Support system is huge.
Yeah.
You need that support system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you want to be. And I think you're on the cusp of really taking this to the next level. If you're capable if you're able to open up like a house that they can graduate to, that's more of an open house, which is outpatient,
Yeah.
where they have jobs and they go do their jobs, they come stay there, and they can go to AA groups at night, and the drug testing's a lot less.
And hopefully by then they have a whole because I think a recovery system is different for each individual, so they have their own program that's working by then.
Their treatment plan is different.
You've preached this so many times. At that 2-year mark, that's typically when the drug is
when your brain's rewired. Yeah,
and you're really able. So so we're hoping that they're at that point, but we're not putting them back into an environment that got them there to begin with. So we're hoping that second house will be more in that realm where we kind of transition into that, home ownership, whatever that next looks like. And then we're really focused on that workforce development. So trying to build like careers. So
that's huge.
Where you're not living paycheck to paycheck. And then as you're in an environment where there's more and more people with that type of success, that's hopefully a thriving environment that we're trying to move towards. So we're excited for that next step, and then we're even thinking about that final step with a potential rent to own option. So then
that would be massive if you're able
so
to 2 years, you're giving them goals to succeed.
And after we're around for 4 years, hopefully we'll have some champions coming back for mentoring, conversations. Yeah. So saying this is normal. You're exactly doing what you're supposed to do. We're not expecting perfection, and they can reach, they can reach someone that we couldn't because they went through the full process.
Right. They'll be able to connect.
Yeah. And then hopefully have more of a spiritual feel in reference to that, where we're, really feeding our souls.
Well, that's honestly AA is very, very spiritual. AA is really centered around God. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always preferred AA over NA.
Yeah.
Because AA has a very, very big spiritual God component to it. And I think that makes a big difference. If you ever, I know it's not your thing, but if you ever look at the big book,
I've been to several AA meetings. I think I've been to 1 or 2 NA meetings. We really try to understand, the whole process and what's working, what's not working. Why is it not working? Are you with the wrong house? So I've read the big book. I've read.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, all the steps.
The step work is huge,
and it applies to life. There's a lot that really does apply to life. I think some of the stuff really aligns well with the Bible. It seems like they took some elements.
That's why 100% I like AA.
So I saw some alignment. There's a program that I went to that took the AA model and brought it into United Baptist. I think they're United Baptist Church. I'm trying to remember the name. So instead of saying higher power, they use Jesus Christ.
Yes.
If and then instead of talking about like NA or AA, they say hurts, hiccups, and hangups, and that's everybody.
I like that. I like that language.
It is non-judgmental.
Yes.
And the treatment is just incredible. So they have a division that's just for veterans who have PTSD.
Yeah.
And they've successfully healed people from PTSD with no drugs or medication because of the healing environment that's in there. That's huge, right? Because
just through talk therapy.
What you were talking about earlier about what really helped you about facing, the truth in reference to what got you using and why you were using
transparency and honesty. 100%.
But if you're in a safe environment, I think that's the best.
Yeah, you can be vulnerable in a safe environment. Yes.
But especially for men, right? you're in an environment of all men who are going through the same thing you went through, that really understand, like, I did this because, like, there's no judgment, because they really
No.
understand how, like, so you're in an environment only with that's safe, and everybody's there to grow together, and it's sponsored, the healing there, between the first step of awareness, to being able to go through that full healing process. The numbers that I've seen come out that program is tremendous, where I would love to bring that into other environments where there's severe trauma,
Yeah,
especially untreated trauma.
And that's the root cause a lot of the times for addiction is untreated trauma.
Yeah,
It's trauma, and it's mental health related, abuse, whatever. That is what leads down that path.
yeah,
When it's untreated, when you just try to keep it down, it's going to come out.
yeah. And they tell boys, man up.
That's what we're told.
Yeah,
That's what we were all told.
yeah. If you're not bleeding, you're not hurt.
That's what we were all told.
Don't cry.
That's what we were all told. Suck it up.
So,
Get back in there.
It turns out that those are the things you need to do in order to
Yeah.
heal from whatever's going on. You need to cry. You need to talk about it. You need to be 100%. Open about it. I personally still struggle opening up. When it comes.
We all do. All men do.
The
two things men hate more than anything: public speaking and being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about their feelings. Men are not comfortable when they have to share their feelings, when they have to talk about things that make them vulnerable, and obviously public speaking. But that's 100% true. But when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, when you allow yourself to share your feelings and share your experiences, then you get to see other people really empathize with you.
Mm-hmm.
And say, well, I've been there too. I've dealt with that, just in a different way, but I've dealt with it.
Plus, your imagination tends to work against you if you don't confront it and be honest with it. So
100%.
What's in your mind is worse than what the reality is. So imagining people with
how they're going to react,
scarlet letter on you, and it turns out, there's people that would go above and beyond to help you, to get you wherever you want to go, and and they see the best in you. They see more in you more than what you see in yourself.
100%.
So, I'm hoping men specifically can get much better with that stuff, and society helps support and getting men to really embrace being more vulnerable and honest.
That's why I'm passionate about it, because I had people who helped me get to that point, and I know that if I did not open up and become vulnerable, share my feelings, talk to my therapist, get the help that I needed, I wouldn't be here. And that is what made the difference.
And your statistics prove that, with the 14 men who are dead out of 17.
Well, yeah, it was
the real numbers.
Yeah, my whole group, yeah, and that scared the hell out of me. But again, I attribute it to when they left treatment, the wheels fell off, and that's what I really want to stop preventing. And that's why the House of Changes has the ability to stop that. You have programs in place, or you're going to get programs in place to keep these men on track, and then having a graduation system to where they can move into another house or move into to start home ownership. That is something, if you told an addict that coming in, like, hey man, you could have a chance to have a home of your own. You could have a chance to get your life back. You could have a chance to have a career.
Yeah.
Those are motivational tools that everyone wants. And that's going to make
them have children,
Yeah.
So imagine like you're not able to provide today, but imagine potentially 4 years from now, you own a property where your children have their own room.
You're doing the work
Yeah,
to provide
like
to
that's
provide
the
for them in the
goal,
future.
right? Yeah, to
Yeah,
really, and you're building a legacy. You can, whenever you leave the earth, you have something you can give them. You have equity you can give them. You know, um, you know,
it's
if they're
huge.
young enough, you might be able to put yourself in a position where you could leverage your wealth to be able to pay for school, pay for college.
Absolutely.
You know, um, and really do the things that you would be proud of yourself for. You know, um, and we use the language conscious community. Trying to build these environments where people are thriving, not just surviving. So
Um, I'm sorry, we got a question that came in.
yep.
Um, for the House of Changes, so you guys don't take insurance, you just take rent. People can pay rent and live there, and then there's rules of the house that they have to follow.
Yes. So
Okay.
we have some men that pay through SSI, and then
Yes.
um,
There's not one set rent, is that correct?
there is a set rent
There is a
amount.
set, okay.
Yeah. So 200 a week, 800 a month,
Right.
and then there's a deposit, um, and then we're working on. So we like depend on the situation. We had a fundraiser, so we're able to sponsor a couple
Yes.
months when needed, um, and then we were working on trying to build out other resources. Where we can use insurance or whether it's Medicaid.
Okay, that's
Medicare.
what it is. You're not allowed to
Yeah,
accept insurance just yet.
we can't personally, but
Right.
there's other services that they accept insurance, so they'll receive the money, and we do the
Yeah,
housing portion. So we're
correct.
working on avenues that look like that, um, looking at different grant funding, different resources that may be available. So making sure we're doing what we need to do on the front end to qualify for that stuff, and then trying to be humble enough to find out what are some of the hiccups that has happened in the past that we can avoid, so we have a great reputation and we don't put ourselves in a bad position. And
Is there someone who stays at the house besides Marcus? Marcus lives at the house, correct?
Marcus lives at the house. Razul's
Okay.
at the house at least one day a week.
So
Um,
there are people that stay at the house 24 hours a day just to make sure everything's taken care of.
yeah, I wouldn't say 24 hours, but
Well,
there's
overnight, I mean.
overnight. Um, you know, so it's been very safe. We haven't. We follow all the rules. We're certified as for as a sober house.
Right.
So we follow all the rules and regulation, and then we
Yeah.
just try to get a little better, every month, with the services we're offering, and trying to make sure that we can get the right funding to really be able to impact the community the best we can. Was there any other questions that came in?
Yeah, actually about so you don't require people to go to a detox first before coming there.
Not that I'm familiar with.
But
Um,
you're not gonna get people clean necessarily. If someone comes in whacked, you're not gonna let them in the house.
I don't think so. No,
So
because the
they have
goal
to be.
they're supposed to be sober when they come
Yeah,
in. They're
yeah,
sober. They're already
correct.
on that track. Um, so, and if we feel like they won't be able to stay sober, we wouldn't waste their time.
Is there a certain detox center or facility that you partner with or use that sends people to the house?
So we do have relationships with a couple detox
Okay.
places. Bacchus Hospital has a detox resource. So we get referrals from a lot of different sources.
Right. Okay. Good.
So like we have similar rules to most sober houses. Like one of them, if you miss curfew, that's an
Yeah, you get drug tested a lot of the
automatic.
time.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I just because I know you got to get to the meeting. I would just say again, I really would love to come out there. I think I could help you guys. I'd love to work with the men in the house. I'd love to lead a couple groups. I'd love
Yeah.
to help them with jobs. Create resumes, LinkedIn profiles, and get them applied to guys that want to work. And I love the community of it. I really would love to be around the guys and do as much as I can to support them. And I think, Marcus he is more important to you doing some other things. And I'd love to take some things off his plate so he can work with you more.
We appreciate that. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. I do want to make sure we listen to Uwe's perspective. And
Uwe is going to give you his perspective.
Yeah, there may be a middle ground.
Tell you hell no. My father surprisingly wanted me to ask him, but
there may be a middle ground where
Well, he was like he would want me. He said he did not want me living in the house. He would want me to get my own place, and he said you can consult with them whenever. He didn't. I don't know if he was keen on me actively working with the guys in the house. That's something I really want to do.
And if you're passionate about it,
it saved my life.
I don't see why we wouldn't want to try to make that work.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for me to. I have no triggers. I have no urges to go back and use.
There's no drugs in the house or anything. There's no,
not that either. And I really want to. I really want to help these guys, and just because I've been there, and I know where they are, and I know how bad you can feel, and I know once you start to see success, your mindset will change, and you can get out of it.
And I think there'll be a lot of support, like help for your growth too, because when you're teaching someone, the men in the house currently are excellent. Like,
you have no problems with them.
I don't think using is a problem with the men in the house.
No, we got to help them get jobs. We got to, the one with the conviction. There's ways we can get them jobs, and once they have a career path, trade school's always an option. There's so many people that need that. My family tried to get an electrician, and it's going to be like 6 weeks before we get one. That is available, and I really want to come in and not tell anyone what to do. I want to hit the ground running and help people, because I'll never forget the people who helped me when I was an asshole, and you guys have done such a wonderful job. I have a great idea for a fundraiser I'm going to tell you about once we sign off, that I think will make you some good money, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. And then, were you able to send me or add me to?
I'm gonna send it. I added you to the calendar.
The shared file.
Yeah, and I'm gonna send the PowerPoint I just finished up. So, just I have to mention Ned Von Young, Fresh Fold Laundry Company, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, high-end laundry service, as he wanted me to say. They now have a delivery service as well as a pickup service. You book online, you put your clothes out in a clear plastic bag. They pick it up, wash, dry, fold it, and now they will deliver it back to you. 20-mile radius, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Deals for college students. Wash your nasty ass. Go to www.myfreshfold-laundry.com to see everything they have to offer. For Javil, Javil. How do you say your name?
So it's Javil, but short for Javil.
Yeah, that's right. Abbah, the House of Changes. I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges. Throw them right